Hey friends, happy Tuesday and Merry Christmas Eve. Sorry there were no videos last week. I got sick and it just took me out and I could not do anything for a couple days. So that definitely put me behind. But at the end of the week, my sister and I decided to go to the bins. She actually asked me if I wanted to go to the bins with her, and that was surprising because she doesn't love the bins. And after 30 minutes, she was kind of over it and went and sat in the car. But we were there for maybe about 2 hours total, and so this is just a quick thrift with me. First, I was looking at this Carter's dress for Once Upon a Child, but I think it was just a little too faded, so I did pass on that. As always, when I first get to the bins, I just kind of start digging. In the first few bins I see in front of me, I did end up running into some bins resellers I know, and right away they told me it was a pretty good day today, so that had me excited. Here is my first find of the day. I found this mesh shirt from the brand Black Bow, I think is how you say it. And right underneath the mesh top, there was a matching bikini set. And so I have actually never come across this brand before. I learned about this brand from watching swimsuit collection videos. So every summer, like spring, summertime, maybe around June, I will watch YouTube hauls and swimsuit collections. I'll literally just type in to YouTube search swimsuit collection 2024 or summer 2024 swimsuit haul. And that is how I learn new trending swimsuit brands and swimsuit styles. I honestly don't do a lot of research when it comes to reselling. I get a lot of my information from other resellers, but that is one form of research I do by myself. And if you don't know where to start with research, that is what I'd recommend. I'd go into Google and just type in like Zara haul 2024 and watch some of the first ones, the first most recent popular videos that come up. And you can get some like trendy style information and maybe they'll drop some keywords. So all that to say, that is how I learned of that brand Black Bow. So I think it's a trendy influencer Gen Z swimwear brand. I didn't even check comps on the swimsuit. It was a cute matching set. Retail, with those like trendy boutique brands for swimsuits tend to be like $80 for a set and above. And so, people are going to start shopping for swimsuits soon with spring break coming up. I've sold a few in December, but really I think I'll start to see pickup maybe at the end of January. That was a very long explanation for the first find of the day, but remember the brand Black Bow, that is a current trendy swimwear brand, and I was super happy to come across it in the bins. And so now I'm trying to make my way over to the shoe rotation. Once I made it to the shoes, that is when Kate and Clarissa saw me, the resellers I mentioned previously, and they told me like, hey, it's a great day today. And Kate also told me they had not rotated shoes that day yet. So all the shoes that we're looking at now had been sitting out all day, which means that a shoe rotation was likely to come, and spoiler, it did. So you guys will see a little bit of a shoe rotation. But for now, we are just looking through the shoes that have been sitting out all day. I'm looking for hopefully some gems, but I'm okay with the bread and butter bins shoe sale. I grabbed these Cat and Jack shoes for Once Upon a Child. When I'm picking up shoes for Once Upon a Child, they have to have a size and they have to be like a recent style and really good condition. Those I think are Mark Fisher, but I never found the mate. And then I saw a logo I recognized, pulled it out. They are Fry shoes and they were at Goodwill for $7. I probably would only pick up this style at the bins. They are clean and in good condition, but it's just, not the classic boot that Fry is known for. Those probably didn't retail more than $100, and I will probably get about $20 for them. This shoe was interesting to me, but again, I didn't see a mate, and so I left it behind. I really wasn't looking too closely in these bins because Kate and Clarissa had said it was such a good day that, I knew these had been picked through, and I really wanted to maximize. Why can't I say that? Maximize. I don't know why I was trying to add an L there. Okay, what you know what I'm trying to say. I was trying to make the most of my time because I was there with my sister and I know she gets bored. And so I was like, okay, I gotta go through the shoes quickly and just see if there's anything and then get to the clothing bins if there's amazing stuff in there. I pulled out these Vince Camuto shoes. They are patent kitten heel. They're a very classic style. They're in good condition. So I did end up grabbing those. I think, again, those are probably about a $20 sale. I'll list them at $25, and then my offers to likers will send out a 80%, no, that's a lot, a 20% off offer, making a $20 sale. That was a cute Zara shoe, but again, just a single, so I had to leave that one behind. Unfortunately, there is just a lot of junk in these bins, and that is sad because we're just such a wasteful society, and it makes me sad that, you know, all this stuff is just going to get trashed if it doesn't get picked up at the bins. I did pull out this pair of shoes, Zaria potentially is the brand. I think I've sold it once before, and I believe it's a comfort shoe brand, so I did throw those in my cart. I don't know how much they're going for these days, but just knowing they're a comfort shoe brand that I've sold before and they're leather, I mean, that is, again, the making of a $20 sale on Poshmark, so I'm good with that. I saw these Uggs. I was hoping I could pick them up, but they just had too much wear on the toes, so I did have to leave those ones behind. Here's a pair of kid shoes that, again, just had a little too much wear to take to Once Upon a Child. I was also hoping that I could pick up these Cat and Jack shoes for Once Upon a Child, but they just had bin skunk on them that I could not get off, and so they, even though they were in good condition otherwise, they did kind of get ruined in the bins. Oh my gosh, also, okay, I've been finding a lot of kids' rain boots with missing insoles, and that pair was no different. They had one insole and one missing one, and I accidentally brought home a pair that is missing an insole, so now I'm gonna have to check the size and keep an eye out in the bins to hopefully find an insole that I can replace it with. Every time I'm at the bins, I find kids' rain boots, and nobody ever picks them up. I will sometimes occasionally grab them to sell on Poshmark, and sometimes occasionally grab them to take to Once Upon a Child, but that's more if they're lightweight because rain boots are kind of heavy and that weight does add up when you're paying by the pound. I did find these Steve Madden and I thought they were Bernie Mev, which is what these guys are. And I pick these up occasionally. They're, I think, sold on QVC, and I think they used to be more popular than they are now. I think I could probably get 18 to 20 for those, so nothing exciting. Definitely not a brand to memorize, but when I'm getting them at the bins, I can make like a $12 profit, and I mean, it's not too bad. I know for a lot of people that is not worth their time, but I don't know, I just have a soft spot for shoes, so I do pick up those lower dollar profits, and I'm just realizing how weird it is to say you have a soft spot for shoes. I did pull out these girls' Cat and Jack shoes, but they had wear in the toe, and again, I wasn't sure if Once Upon a Child would want to buy those with the wear, so I did throw those guys back. I decided to move on to the clothing bins because I think I found pretty much every pair of shoes that I was going to find in those old shoe bins. I did pull out this girl's Carter skirt to take to Once Upon a Child. Unfortunately, the location I go to the most is not accepting spring summer right now, and I asked them and they said they're not sure when they are going to accept spring summer, so I think I'm gonna have to try out another location that I called and they said they are accepting spring summer. That was a Ralph Lauren tie. I thought it was cool, but I don't sell ties. I've never come across a designer one, and I'm not picking up basic ones. My sister pulled this Free People Movement jumpsuit right out of the spot I was digging, and I was so jealous. It was for me, but I was jealous that she found it when all I was finding in this spot right here was a bunch of junk. I saw a tag we all know just sticking out in the bins. It is a Spanx tag, and I thought these might be flawed because the way the tag was just sticking out, it seemed like maybe someone had looked at them and then just left them, but these were actually in really good condition. This is not a style I think will do it very well. Printed herringbone, or no, that's houndstooth, like skinny leg. But in the bins, I mean, I'll take a $15 to $20 Spanx sale. I didn't actually check comps. That's just what I'm assuming. That was a Cat and Jack girls sweatshirt for Once Upon a Child. And this looked interesting. It didn't look like anything I was going to pick up, but I was curious. And it is actually Old Torrid. So here is the Old Torrid tag. I did throw this back because I did not think it was going to do well. This was an old bin. I don't know how long it was sitting out. It was not rotated by the time I got there. I was just kind of walking around and skimming the top, seeing if I can find anything and waiting for them to do a new rotation so I could start digging. I did end up pulling out this Cabby sweater, and Cabby is a brand I don't sell often. Some pieces are actually worth good money, but you definitely have to look up the exact style. This sweater had a little bit of wear, but I did end up picking it up because we are in sweater season, and for like a heavy chunky knit sweater, I hope like I can get at least $20, but maybe it's a sought after style. Cabby does have style codes in the interior tag, so I will search the exact style in Poshmark to figure out how I want to price that. I usually like to be on the lower end of listing prices. This is a girl's How Hippie skirt. Now, How Hippie used to be a Bolo brand, and not in kids and adults. And if I found it in the bins, like maybe I'd grab it, but I don't even know if they're still like in production today. And so the stuff that, was trendy 8 years ago is definitely not trendy anymore. But they do now have a kids line that sold at TJ Maxx. So I do pick up the kids stuff for Once Upon a Child, and I have checked comps, and I don't believe that it's worth reselling. I did find this Gap shirt that was new with tags, and it was really cute, and I tried to give it to my sister, but she said it's not her style, and so I did leave that behind because I won't list it, and I don't have anywhere that I think would buy it. My sister handed me this Draper James RSVP line by Draper James, which is the Kohl's line. I did end up picking it up because it's cute and new with tags. I have never picked up the RSVP line, the Kohl's line from Draper James, so we'll have to see how that does. I would recommend staying away from it if you're paying like anything more than bins prices, just because again, it is sold at Kohl's, but I do like the regular Draper James line. That one just says Draper James. The difference is just RSVP. Kohl's line will say RSVP on the tag. Then I pulled out this Men's Express merino wool sweater, and I did pass on it for a bad reason. I didn't feel like sweater shaving it. It was pretty linty, and I think it probably could have done at least 20 to 25 because it was a bigger size and a good fabric content, and we're in winter, but I just was like, oh my god, I don't want to sweater shave that, so I did leave that behind. Then I actually found a good condition North Face women's jacket in the bins. Usually when I find North Face jackets in the bins, they're beat in some way, holes, zippers broken. That one was seam sealed, and usually when I find seam sealed jackets in the bins, there's holes and peeling. So I checked that jacket over, and it was in good condition, so I threw it in the cart. Didn't check comps because I figured I could get at least $25 for it. Then I pulled out this pretty print, and it happened to be a Zara dress, and it is a midi, no, I think it's a maxi. It is a very pretty maxi dress, so I will probably end up listing that one myself. Sometimes I'll take Zara to buy, sell, trade, but they told me recently they're being more selective with Zara. I found this J. Jill 4X sweater, and it had pearls all over it, and I think, I actually threw it back, but then I was like, oh, you know what, I think I can sell it. The thing is, I just didn't feel like storing it. I have a lot of chunky things right now, and I feel like I would sit on that one a little longer, so I didn't want to wait for it to sell. And I ended up finding another J. Jill plus size piece, and then I ran into a subscriber, Antoinette, and we were talking, and I was like, hey, do you sell plus size J. Jill? Because I have a couple pieces. And so she took those, so I hope those do well for her. This was an American Eagle sweater. I don't sell American Eagle sweaters, and my Crossroads Buffalo Exchange, they don't really buy American Eagle, so I did leave that behind. And you may be thinking like, hey, what about Plato's? Well, I just took a ginormous, actually 2 bags to Plato's Closet, and they bought like 7 things. So again, I'm writing off Plato's Closet. I cannot figure them out. This is a Old Navy dress for Once Upon a Child. I have Once Upon a Child figured out, and I make a lot more money selling kids' clothes to them than I do selling to Plato's Closet, where I'm literally paying more for the items I'm taking Plato's Closet because they're adult sizes and heavy. I love selling to Once Upon a Child. I really hope that stream of income does not go away for me. I probably would have looked up this robe brand, but it was stained, so it didn't really matter. But robes are something that can definitely bring in good money. I have found some random obscure robe brands in the bins and looked them up, and they sell quickly. People like robes. This was an interesting cardigan, but didn't matter because it had a hole right in the neckline. Now, I was not really finding anything anymore in this bins spot, so I did decide to move on. I walked over to what I believe was a newer rotation compared to what I was just going through, and I found this Diane von Furstenberg dress, and it is a true wrap dress, which is what she's known for, and I don't think I've ever found any of her true wrap dresses before, so that was exciting. As you can see, they're getting ready for a new bins rotation, but I'm gonna keep digging where I am since I just found that Diane von Furstenberg dress, and I'll move on to that new rotation once it clears out a little bit. I found a bunch of the same Shein shirt right there, unfortunately. Luckily, I don't think there's like too much Shein in the bins, but there is a lot. This Old Navy girls shirt I looked at for Once Upon a Child, but I think it was just too faded, so I did pass on that one. I know some of you guys like this angle of me shopping in the bins, so I did set this up in the exact same spot. I found the Diane von Furstenberg dress, and then I pulled out this brand I had never heard of before, but the tag looked interesting and it looked like decent quality. So there's the tag. It is a 90, and then I checked the interior tag just because I didn't know anything about it, and it is spelled out. The brand is 90%, and I literally just looked it up. I threw it in my cart without checking anything, brought it home without checking anything, because I figured, worst comes to worst, I'll take it to buy, sell, trade. But I checked it, and it looks like it maybe retails around $80. So I don't know how that will do, but I have it now to try out. Then I was happy to pull out this Kate Spade dress, and I actually really like selling Kate Spade clothing. The ones that are novelty print, more unique, tend to do better, but I still think this is a classic fit and flare style with that like cheetah collar. I think that will do well. So I'm hoping that could be like a $50 sale, depending how saturated the style is. Now this is something I would have brought home with me. It is a Boston Proper, very gauzy maxi dress. This brand does okay for me, but unfortunately the hem was stained, so I did leave that behind. At this point, my sister came up to me and was like, I'm done, I'm going to wait in the car. And I was like, no way are you sitting in my car with the gas on while I am shopping. And she's like, no, I will just sit in there and be cold. So, she did her typical Kendall thing. She's not going to watch this, so I can gossip about her. And so I had to hurry up and finish shopping because she was calling me nonstop for like a half hour. Like, when are you coming out? When are you coming out? I want to leave. So those were Vid Vines pants I left behind due to wear. Now this potentially is my best find of the day. It was at Goodwill for $10 and never sold. It is a Chanlu dress, and correct me if I'm wrong, I did zero research, but I believe Chanlu is the jewelry brand, but they also do clothing, and so I believe that is a silk dress, and I think that will do very well. Here are just a few of the finds I have found. I actually went through the new rotation, so a lot of this came out of that new rotation that you guys saw being rotated. Lots of bread and butter, but that is okay. That is mostly what I sell from the bins. I did pull out this Athleta piece, but as soon as I got it out, I saw the staining all over, so I did have to leave that behind, which is unfortunate because I think that could have been a good piece. I found these Current Elliott pants, but they're like an old, kind of like velvety pant, so I did leave those ones behind as well. Then I pulled out this magical tag, Gunne Sacks by Jessica McClintock. I have never found Gunne Sacks before. Now, unfortunately, this is a girl's dress, so an adult women's dress, especially in this print, it would go for hundreds, but I'm hoping this girl's dress will still go for around 50. There is definitely a market for vintage children's clothing. Then Kate got my attention, and she was like, hey, they're doing the shoe rotation, so we went and lined up. Here they are rolling in the new bins. I'm trying to see if I can find anything, and then Kate got my attention for the bin that was in front of me, and she's like, hey, look, there's a pair of Birkenstocks. And I was like, oh my god, there is a pair of Birkenstocks, and I'm not very aggressive, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna get them, but as soon as they said go, I reached over and grabbed their Birkenstocks. I tried to pass them off to Kate because she is the one who spotted them, but she wouldn't accept them, so it was very kind of her to reject them and make me keep them, but I tried so hard to give her those Birkenstocks. At this point, my sister was like nonstop calling me, and I told her I was sorting my cart, so I was trying to go through this new rotation very fast. And do you see what I see right here? I totally missed that Madewell pair of sneakers and a pair of little girls Crocs, which I do sell. That is like a bread and butter $15 sale for me. So that is what happens when you go through the bins very quickly. You miss stuff. Kate handed me those Minnetonka shoes, which is very nice of her. I do like to sell Minnetonka, and they usually sell, depending on the style, like 20 to 25 for me. So as you can see, I'm just kind of rushing, trying to see if I can spot anything because I'm afraid my sister's going to call me again and yell at me. I think I was actually more afraid that she was going to decide to come in to the bins and see it was taking me so long and see that I was digging in the new shoe rotation instead of sorting my cart like I said I was going to. So here are the shoe finds that I got in the new rotation. First, I found that Aldi bag, which is great. I can take those home. Those are little girls' crew cut factory shoes, which I will likely be selling myself. I did find this single Jimmy Choo. I'm sure the match was in the bin somewhere, but it was pretty beat and I wasn't going to spend time looking for it when my sister was waiting in the car and yelling at me. So those are Cole Haan sandals, which I did grab. Those are probably just like a $20 to $25 sale. I did find those Born boots and some little kid shoes for Once Upon a Child. There are said Birkenstocks that Kate pointed out to me. That is a really good style, that like sling back Arizona style. So I was happy to find those. Unfortunately, these Danskos were dry rotted to high hell. Look at how bad that is. So I did have to throw those guys back. Hopefully no one else bought them. Here is my last clothing find. JP and Maddie, Good Leg and Look brand to know. And guys, that is everything. Here is my whole haul. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great holiday season, and I will see you guys in another video soon. Goodbye.